All right. Hello, everybody. This is the CGIS Programs in Australia info session for winter 2027. My name's Ben Piper. I'm the CGIS program advisor for our two programs in Australia, which I'll be talking about today. All right. So the first one we have is University of New South Wales, UNSW, in Sydney. And the other one we have is at the University of Melbourne in Melbourne. All right. Why choose to study in Australia? Well, there are a number of reasons. I'll go over some of them here. First of all, they have two world-class universities that we work with. The teaching quality is very high. Both are globally recognized institutions, and they have a number of course offerings and are strong in those fields which you see on the screen. Also, of course, Australia is an English-speaking country, so there's no problem outside of the classroom getting around and about with your daily life. And you'll get connected to a globally connected economy, expand your international network, especially with Asia-Pacific industries and fields. The quality of life in Australia is quite high. It's a very safe, student-friendly environment. Both cities, Melbourne and Sydney, are very multicultural, and there are a number of, besides the academics, there are a number of outdoor things that you could take advantage of. Some other reasons that students like to go abroad in winter to Australia is that it is our winter is summer in Australia, so students like to, get away from the Ann Arbor winter. And then also at both universities, there are some very unique courses that probably are not available at UM. Just on the screen, these are some examples from UNSW Sydney, Aboriginal Sydney, Sport Law and Society in Australia, and Australia Through Visitors' Eyes. All right. So, for our two programs, there are two study options there. The first one is called exchange students. The other one is called visiting students. Exchange students, they will pay their tuition at their regular rate, and they will not pay the host school tuition. The exchange student option is very competitive, and we do have very limited number of spots for exchange students. The other option, visiting students, they pay the host school tuition and they don't pay tuition. This option is not competitive at all, and we can send unlimited numbers of students as visiting students. The program itself is the same for exchange students and visiting students. The only difference is the cost and the payment format. The visiting student option often can be quite a bit cheaper for students, especially out-of-state students. And most students go to Australia as visiting students. All right, our first program is University of New South Wales, UNSW in Sydney. It is an exchange program with the university. You can apply on mCompass. So you would first create your mCompass application. And for winter 2027, that's due by September the 15th. After that date passes, we'll then nominate the group to apply directly to UNSW, and they would make the final admissions decision. There are two links there in the red, Study Abroad and Exchange at UNSW. That's their own website you can click on to learn more about their program. We also have a CGIS made FAQ that you can check out with that second link. Talks about study terms, academics, housing, etc. For the UNSW program, during the semester, you have to take at least 12 or 16 credits, depending on which study term you choose. And then again, they do have a wide range of course offerings. One thing about the UNSW program is that students must find their own off-campus housing. UNSW does not have any on-campus housing like dorms, residence halls for students. So that could be something you'd have to think about. I'm the advisor for this program, so if you have questions, you can contact me. And then please note, we just talked about visiting and exchange students, but for UNSW Winter 2027, we do not have the exchange option. All students who are going to UNSW for Winter 2027 must go as visiting students. All right, here are the study terms that they offer for winter. So they have what we call the tailored term, which means that you would take 4 UNSW classes and you would get a total of 16 credits. Down below, you can see the dates. We don't yet have the winter 2027 dates, but they will be similar to the ones you see on the screen. For the tailored term, you have to go from early January until mid-May. And then the other option we have is the standard term. That term, you'll do 3 UNSW classes and you'll get 12 credits. The dates for that run from uh, early February until mid-May. So on the UNSW program, whichever of these winter terms you choose, they both end mid-May. So that gets you back here to uh, Ann Arbor in case you'd like to do an internship or a summer job or something like that. It's up to you which of those two terms you would like to do. Each UNSW course is worth 6 UNSW credits, or that equals to 4 credits. And you cannot underload or overload the set number of courses that you're required to take. So if you're choosing the standard term, you have to take 3 UNSW courses. You can't take 4, you can't take 2, you have to take 3. Here are a few example courses from previous students who attended UNSW. You can see they all took a wide range of different things. The UNSW course selection is quite great, and probably all different majors will be able to find some courses that they'd be able to take. In the red, there's the link to the UNSW handbook. That is basically the course guide that you would use to look for classes at UNSW. Okay, the program costs for UNSW, you can check these on the budget sheets. They are linked here. Or if you go to mCompass, you can also find these budget sheets under the Finances tab. And again, the tailor term where you go for one extra month is slightly more expensive than the regular standard term. We don't yet have the winter 2027 budget sheets up, but those will be coming soon in mCompass. And in the meantime, you can use the fall 2026 budget sheets as a reference. Okay, the second Australia program that we have is also an exchange program. It's at the University of Melbourne. The application is similar. You would first apply on mCompass by September the 15th, and then after that, we would nominate the group to then apply directly to Melbourne, and they would make the final admissions decision. For this program, we do have both the exchange option and the visiting student option. The visiting student option is not competitive at all, but the exchange option is. We do have limited spots for the exchange students. In the red, links. We do have the website link for the study abroad at Melbourne. We also have an FAQ sheet that you can check out. Again, for a semester, you would be earning between 12 and 18 credits. And like UNSW, Melbourne also has a wide range of course offerings for students. On this program, unlike UNSW, there is on-campus housing available for students. So they have a variety of student apartments or residence halls that you can apply to live in. Okay, here are some sample courses that previous Melbourne students took. Um, like UNSW, they have a large course selection. You could probably find something that you'd want to be taking. They also have, like UNSW, quite a few courses focusing on Australia. And in the red, there's the link to the course handbook, which you can use to look for courses. Here are the budget sheets. Again, we don't yet have winter 2027 up, but you can check the fall 2026 budget sheets to get an idea of the cost. Okay, here is sort of a comparison, not between the two schools, but between the two cities, Sydney and Melbourne. Um, so Sydney, it's a a big famous city around the world. I would think more people know about Sydney than they do Melbourne. But if you're into uh, beaches, and going to the beach and being outdoors, that's a big part of Sydney. Melbourne is more considered the culture capital. There are a lot of coffee shops, music venues, and art galleries there that you could visit. Um, it's warmer and sunnier in Sydney. It's also more humid. Melbourne has more temperature ranges, and you can experience like four seasons in one day. Both cities are pricey. Australia is quite pricey, but Sydney is probably a bit more expensive than Melbourne. And in Sydney, there's again, like we mentioned, a lot of outdoor stuff to do, especially beaches, surfing, all that kind of stuff. Whereas in Melbourne, yes, they do have beaches, but it's the beach culture is not as, you know, significant as it is in Sydney. But it's known as the culture capital. So if you're into live music, comedy, bars, music, galleries, art galleries, that kind of stuff, Melbourne has that. And we already talked about the last point, outdoor stuff. Um, both have it, but Sydney, it's right there in the city. For Melbourne, you might have to get out of the city to experience some of that stuff. Okay, application process. So there are two parts. First, you have to apply in mCompass by the CGIS application deadline. And then after that passes, we will review all the applicants and then nominate them to the host school. Then the host school will um, make the file. You'll then apply directly to the host school through their website, and they'll make the final admissions decision. And usually they're quite quick about that. So you should hear back quite soon after you've submitted their part of the application. Again, going as a visiting student is not competitive at all. All the students who we've nominated have been admitted to the schools. For both programs in Australia, you do need to get the Australian visa. It is quite pricey. It's 2,000 Australian dollars, which is 1,382 US dollars. That visa is done online, and you don't need to submit your physical passport. You can't apply for the visa until you've been admitted by the host school. All right, we have some additional notes. So here is the timeline. So we will be having our CGIS advising fair coming up on Friday. If you'd like, you can come talk more about the Australia programs or other programs. And you can also, start your application. Those are open now for winter 2027. If you need a letter of recommendation, you should also start looking into getting that done. May to July, you can meet with CGIS advisors or attend various info sessions. We encourage you to finish your applications during this time before September, and you can also begin researching financial aid. And then August 1st to September 15th, those are our deadlines for Australia. Um, it's September the 15th, and you can also apply for funding through various scholarships. And you can check out those links there. And also, to the right, the Office of Financial Aid, they have, if you do get financial aid normally here on campus, you are able to use that in some fashion towards study abroad. They have a study abroad estimate worksheet, which you can fill out if you'd like to get an idea of how much you may be getting for study abroad. This is an example of our mCompass program brochure page. Just a typical example. This one's not obviously for Australia, but the Australia ones will look this very similar. So you can check out all the tabs, how to apply academics, housing, finances, where you find the budget sheets, dates, know before applying. Um, so please get to that page if you want to learn more. This is also where you would start the CGIS part of your application. All right. Course approvals. So if you are LSA, you will get in residence credit for all the courses that you take abroad. Also, the grades that you earn abroad, those will be factored back here into your GPA. But if you have questions about how certain abroad courses will count towards your own degree requirements, that is definitely not a question for CGIS advisors. We cannot advise on this. Instead, you need to meet with your academic advisor. They are the ones who can tell you how certain abroad courses will count here towards your specific degree requirements. All right. This is our CGIS multiple application policy. So you can apply to more than one CGIS program. If your first choice is a competitive program, then we say, yes, you should have a backup option, number two choice that's not competitive. On the other hand, if your first choice is not competitive, then you do not need to have a backup option. If you're going to Australia as a visiting student, uh, that is not competitive, so you would not need to have a backup option. All right. Financial aid. I talked a bit about this, but they do have the financial aid office. They have a study abroad team within their office that works with study abroad students. And on the link here, you can click, they have the study abroad estimate worksheet. You can use the program budget sheet, which we talked about, to fill in some of the figures. And you would then email this form to the financial aid office. And then they could give you a good estimate of how much aid you might be getting for the program. If you have any sort of questions about financial aid, please contact them. They have a certain email you can use. You can see it down below there. We also encourage you, if you are LSA, to apply for the LSA Study Abroad Scholarship. You can check out the link there. The application is open now and it closes on September 22, 2026. So go to that link, see if you're eligible. If so, definitely apply for that scholarship. If you have questions about the scholarship, you can email their office at the email address there. Also, if you're looking for other funding opportunities, you can click on the last link down there called Scholarships Opportunities. We have a number of possible, well, funding sources that you could have a look through. Okay, next steps. You can meet with a CGIS peer advisor if you'd like to. Um, you can do that through our CGIS website advising page. You can meet with them to get the student experience, ask questions about their time abroad. And of course, you can meet with a CGIS advisor to talk about the program. All right. Any questions?